So Safe Families is a national organization. They have chapters all over the country. And every single chapter partners with a church or multiple churches. So there are multiple churches in the Columbus area that are involved in Safe Families outside of just Veritas. So the ministry is really across the country. But basically the goal is to keep kids out of the foster care system. So it's kind of the first step in a family is experiencing some sort of crisis. It could be substance abuse. It could just be, like David said, like this mom needs to go deliver her newborn and doesn't have anyone to watch her other kids while she's laboring. So it can really be, it can be anything. It could be just they need a weekend or a long weekend to, go to a training or just get something done. Hostings can last from just a long weekend to up to 6 months, I think. So any really family who's experiencing a crisis would be eligible to be involved in Safe Families. I mean, honestly, the first conversation we had, like after church when they were talking about Safe Families, was like, it was a conflict. Because I was like, my heart was like, we can just host a child and it will be great. We'll figure it out. Like, we're going to just jump all in. And David's like, whoa. Like, we live in this tiny apartment. I'm doing my master's. Like, we have all these things going on. Like, it's just realistically, we're not ready. And I was just like, but God will just help us. And like, we had a big misconception about Safe Families when we first started learning about it too. And that's, I think, kind of why we were hesitant about getting involved, because we were like, again, we don't have any children. Like, the only toy that we have in our house is a cat toy. Like, we can't.
And also, what does involvement mean, right? So, like, I think there was a misconception on our end that to be involved in Safe Families, you had to be a host family.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily true. And we've seen that through, what we've been able to contribute, whether it's, getting meal trains together, whether it's going and picking up people from the hospital. Actually, I specifically went and picked up someone from the hospital that just had a newborn that was, part of her kids were with a family, and dropped her off at her house. And so, like, things like that is like anything you can do to contribute. Like, there's lots of different roles for people outside of just being a host family. It really takes a community to surround that host family, to give them the appropriate resources and support to not disrupt their lives too much. Obviously, they're taking in children that is potentially doubling the size of their family sometimes. So,
as the ministry leads, we're kind of like the middleman between like the church and the organization of Safe Families, and also connecting volunteers who are interested from our church congregation to plugging them into different opportunities. So if they want to be a host family, making sure they know about an upcoming training, or if they want to be a resource friend, we can provide them with opportunities to collect resources like what families need, what hostings are going on.
Coming and surrounding the parent that's in need is some of the most, it's one of the most beautiful displays of Christianity and of the gospel, in that someone needs help and that strangers are stepping in to say, not only do we want to help you as a person, we want to make sure your kids are kept safe and have a good home to be in while you're going through whatever you're going through, a million different things, right? It could just be that she's at the hospital giving birth to a baby and you can't leave, a couple of kids unattended in the waiting room, right? People that step in and do those things for a stranger and say, like, we got you, what do you need, outside of just us hosting your kids, and then building that relationship with the parent, is really just displaying the love of Christ in a beautiful and magnificent way. You can do it. Like, it's I'm the perfect example of, like, I'm not good with kids. I don't really understand kids. I'm like, how's your 401k doing? I don't really know what to talk about, right? I had all the excuses in the world. And there was only one reason to get involved, and that's like because God wanted us to. And, we could tell this is where we need to be. And so, like, in my mind, the first step is reach out. Like, even if it's just getting coffee with one of us to, like, talk through what Safe Families is and how they can help, that might be the first step. And then, one step at a time, like one foot in front of the other. Like, you don't have to jump in and be a host family immediately.